There are prayers that comfort, there are prayers that heal. But once in a generation, a prayer is revealed that changes destinies. Hidden for centuries, protected by the wisdom of kings and the silence of mystics, one such prayer has now resurfaced, and it carries a power unlike anything you've ever heard. This is not just a prayer for peace. It is not just a request for blessings. This is a code, a divine alignment of intention and spiritual law that was whispered in the shadows of Solomon's throne. And today, as you listen with your heart open and your soul attentive, you'll begin to feel its weight and its wealth. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like life is rigged for others? Like some people simply attract good fortune, win prizes, inherit money, receive unexpected checks, or stumble into the right opportunities, while you struggle, pray, hope, and still come up empty? If that resonates with you, you are not broken. You're not unlucky. You've simply been disconnected from a truth the ancients knew, but our modern world has tried to bury under doubt, disbelief, and noise. Florence Scovel Shinn, a spiritual pioneer of the 20th century, often spoke of divine law, a principle that governs all outcomes in life. She believed, and proved repeatedly, that those who align their spoken word with divine authority can command their reality. And it's no coincidence that today, her teachings are awakening millions across the world, especially in moments of deep financial need, despair, or the desire for miraculous transformation. The prayer you're about to receive is more than a set of words. It's a spiritual activation, a spiritual frequency, a decree that not only calls abundance into your life, but arranges events, numbers, signs, and situations in your favor. Whether it's through the lottery, surprise financial windfalls, or unexpected business breakthroughs, this prayer functions as a portal. It moves you out of scarcity and into divine alignment. But the key is not just reciting it, it's believing it, feeling it, owning it. Solomon was known not just for wisdom, but for favor, for attracting gold without effort, for commanding wealth not through toil, but through insight. That same energetic blueprint is encoded into this prayer, and today, if you listen with attention and say it with sacred intention, something will shift. Not tomorrow, not in a week, but as early as tonight, you may receive the very sign you've been waiting for. It could be a number, a dream, a name, a phone call, a vibration in your chest that tells you something just changed, and it will be real. And if you're skeptical, that's fine. The power of this prayer does not depend on blind faith. It works through resonance, through the alignment of your spirit with divine truth. Florence Scovel didn't teach magic. She taught precision. She taught that words are wands, and that what you decree shall be established unto you. This prayer follows her principle. It is clear, it is bold, and it is precise. And once you hear it, once it flows through your spirit, you will no longer think of wealth as distant. You will understand that wealth is responsive. Now ask yourself, are you ready to stop begging for scraps and start commanding overflow? Are you willing to step beyond religious guilt and into divine inheritance? Because if you are, this prayer could very well mark the beginning of a new chapter in your life. A chapter where money flows freely, where the numbers speak to you, where you finally feel like the system is rigged for you, not against you. But don't just listen to the prayer and move on. Treat it as sacred. Return to it daily. Whisper it before sleep. Declare it at dawn. Let it seep into your subconscious and mold your reality from within. Because the truth is this: you were never meant to struggle. You were meant to reign. This is the lost prayer of Solomon. And if you dare to receive it, you must also dare to believe that your days of lack are over, that you are stepping into divine favor, into unstoppable prosperity, into a life where abundance is not a hope. It is your new normal. So tell me, do you believe this is possible for you? If so, speak it out loud in the comments right now. I receive the abundance that is mine by divine right. Say it, type it, claim it, because your words are not empty. They are the seeds of your next miracle. Let's be honest. How many nights have you gone to bed with that tight feeling in your chest, wondering if you'll have enough tomorrow? How many times have you checked your bank account and felt a sinking emptiness, as if money was a ghost? Something you could never quite touch, no matter how hard you tried? You work, you strive, you hope. But deep down, there's a voice that whispers, "This isn't working." This is the silent battle most people fight, and they rarely talk about it. The anxiety of unpaid bills, the embarrassment of borrowing, the quiet shame of pretending you're fine when you're not. And then there's the worst part, seeing people around you who seem to manifest abundance effortlessly, while you feel stuck in a loop of delay and denial. And you wonder, what am I doing wrong? But here's a deeper truth. It's not about working harder. It's not about being smarter. And it's definitely not about being more deserving. What if the real reason you haven't broken through financially has nothing to do with effort, and everything to do with alignment? Most people were taught to chase money, to hustle, to grind their way to wealth. But the ancients, Solomon, the prophets, even spiritual masters like Florence Scovel, taught something radically different. They didn't teach the worship of effort. They taught the power of decree, the authority of spirit. The law of cause and effect activated by your words, your belief, and your vibration. And the tragic reality? That truth has been buried, mocked, replaced by fear-based religion or hollow motivation. And that's the problem. You've been disconnected from the spiritual system that actually governs abundance. You've been trying to fix a spiritual problem with physical tools, trying to change your external reality without addressing the energetic code running in your subconscious. And as long as you ignore that, you stay trapped. You affirm poverty, even when you're praying for wealth. You vibrate fear, even while visualizing success. You speak lack, even when you're trying to manifest millions. Florence Scovel said something powerful. Your word is your wand. She meant it literally. The words you speak, think, and even whisper internally are forming your reality moment by moment. And when you speak words of doubt, of struggle, of limitation, the universe responds in kind. Not because it's cruel, but because it's obedient. You are always manifesting. The problem is what you're manifesting. And I want you to sit with that truth, because it explains so much. It explains why you've felt blocked. Why every time you feel like you're about to receive, something interrupts. Why the lottery tickets never hit. Why opportunities vanish. It's not that you're cursed. It's that you're misaligned. Operating under old programming. Speaking out of fear instead of faith. Now think of how long this has been going on. Think of all the prayers you've whispered, thinking God wasn't listening. The reality is, He was. But prayer without authority is like a car with no engine. It has the shape, the beauty, the intention, but it doesn't move. What Florence Scovel revealed, and what Solomon encoded in his wisdom, is that prayer must be spoken from authority, from divine right, from the knowing that you are not begging a distant power. You are activating a law that is already waiting for your command. This is why your prayers haven't worked the way you expected. Because no one told you how to pray with dominion, how to align your frequency with the response you desire, how to declare, not plead, for what is yours. And it's not your fault. Most religious systems teach submission, not co-creation. They teach that you are a servant of wealth, not a steward of it, that you must earn favor instead of activating it. But Solomon didn't live that way. He didn't ask for gold. He aligned with wisdom, and gold followed him. Florence didn't hustle. She spoke. She affirmed. She visualized. And her life reflected exactly what she declared. Her teachings were rejected by many because they were too powerful, too direct, too free. But those who embraced them experienced miracle after miracle, and today, people all over the world are waking up to that same truth. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what if all the delay, all the frustration, all the financial pain was simply a wake-up call? A divine tap on the shoulder saying, "You've been using the wrong system. Come back to the source." Because once you do, you'll never pray the same way again. You won't beg, you'll command. You won't fear, you'll affirm. You won't hope, you'll expect. And from that space, money will flow, opportunities will open, numbers will align, prizes, inheritances, and blessings will appear. Not because of chance, but because you finally said the words that unlock the law. And now, for the first time in your life, you're about to learn that prayer, that frequency, that key. But before we go deeper, make sure you're not missing anything sacred. Click that subscribe button now, because the next videos will reveal more ancient truths like this. You'll receive more prayers, more teachings, and more keys to unlock what's been spiritually blocked for far too long. Don't just watch, walk with us. Because your breakthrough is no longer optional, it's overdue. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when you stop searching outside and finally look within. A moment when you realize that the answer was never hidden from you. It was hidden in you. What if I told you that the power to attract money, to win what you thought was impossible, to bend the rules of chance in your favor, isn't just available to a few chosen people, but it's your divine inheritance? And that the key to unlocking it is a specific combination of energy, word, and intention, preserved through generations, but ignored by most. This is not a fantasy. This is the solution, and it's deeply spiritual, precise, and astonishingly simple once understood. The Lost Prayer of Solomon, paired with the teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn, operates as a spiritual algorithm, a sacred code that rearranges reality when spoken with authority. It's not superstition, it's not magic, it's law. And just like gravity, it works whether you believe in it or not. But once you consciously activate it, it begins to work for you. The reason so many people fail to see results in prayer is because they treat prayer as a plea, not as a commandment aligned with divine law. But Solomon didn't plead. Florence didn't beg. They spoke with clarity, certainty, and vision. They declared the unseen as if it were already done. And the universe, obedient and exact, responded. So what is this solution we're talking about? It's a shift in spiritual posture, from asking to activating, from fear to faith, from hoping to knowing. It is choosing to use your voice, your thoughts, and your spirit in alignment with laws that have governed kings, prophets, and sages since the beginning of time. The Lost Prayer of Solomon is not just words, it's architecture. Each phrase, each line, is built to match the divine frequencies that attract money, prosperity, and favor into your field. Now imagine, just for a moment, what would happen if your internal world matched the frequency of someone who always receives. Imagine if your words no longer echoed worry, but wealth. If every sentence you spoke carried authority, not anxiety. That is what this solution unlocks. It doesn't change just your mindset. It realigns your energetic structure to the divine blueprint of abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the subconscious mind is like a recording device, always listening, always manifesting. She said, "The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy." And this is where the prayer becomes transformative. Because once you speak the right words, from the right frequency, into the right spiritual posture, what returns to you is not just hope, but results. This solution isn't a one-time event. It's a spiritual practice, a ritual of remembrance, a way of waking up every day and choosing to align with the source of all wealth instead of chasing the shadow of it. The Prayer of Solomon, when spoken daily, does something miraculous. It reprograms the filters of your reality. Suddenly, you notice different opportunities. The random numbers begin to make sense. The silence of the past is replaced by signs, synchronicities, and doors that were previously invisible. You stop being the victim of your finances, and you become the master of them. And let's be clear, this is not about greed. This is not about asking God to make you rich while others suffer. This is about restoring spiritual order, about reclaiming your divine right to live in flow, not in fear, to prosper so that you can bless, to receive so that you can give. This is what Florence meant when she said, "I do not limit God by seeing limitation. I use my words to speak expansion. The solution is expansion. It's speaking expansion. It's aligning with divine expansion." And the Lost Prayer of Solomon is your tool, your weapon, your anthem in this spiritual war against lack and limitation. Let's make this practical. When you begin using this prayer, you'll want to do it in stillness, not rushed, not distracted, morning and night. And you must feel each word. Visualize it. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Let your entire being participate in the act. Because this isn't just prayer, it's spiritual programming. And every repetition is a code sent to the universe that says, "I am ready. I remember who I am. I claim what is mine." As you do this consistently, you may begin to experience what some call divine downloads. You'll see numbers that repeat, perhaps 7s, 8s, 3s. You'll dream of keys, of doors, of shining objects. You'll overhear conversations that seem meant just for you. These are signs of the system activating. It's not coincidence. It's confirmation. The only question is, will you commit? Will you stop reciting the words of doubt and start declaring the words of dominion? Because once you do, the shift will not be subtle. It will be supernatural. This prayer is your inheritance. This moment is your turning point. The money, the win, the breakthrough, it's already coded into your future. And now, by speaking the lost words of Solomon and aligning with the spiritual truth Florence revealed, you are stepping into the timeline where it all becomes visible. Say it with me now in your heart. I am no longer a seeker. I am a receiver. By divine law, I align with the wealth that already exists for me. Because the solution is here. The only thing missing was you stepping into it. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when you stop searching outside and finally look within. A moment when you realize that the answer was never hidden from you. It was hidden in you. What if I told you that the power to attract money, to win what you thought was impossible, to bend the rules of chance in your favor, isn't just available to a few chosen people, but it's your divine inheritance? And that the key to unlocking it is a specific combination of energy, word, and intention, preserved through generations, but ignored by most. This is not a fantasy. This is the solution, and it's deeply spiritual, precise, and astonishingly simple once understood. The Lost Prayer of Solomon, paired with the teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn, operates as a spiritual algorithm, a sacred code that rearranges reality when spoken with authority. It's not superstition, it's not magic, it's law, and just like gravity, it works whether you believe in it or not. But once you consciously activate it, it begins to work for you. The reason so many people fail to see results in prayer is because they treat prayer as a plea, not as a commandment aligned with divine law. But Solomon didn't plead. Florence didn't beg. They spoke with clarity, certainty, and vision. They declared the unseen as if it were already done, and the universe, obedient and exact, responded. So, what is this solution we're talking about? It's a shift in spiritual posture, from asking to activating, from fear to faith, from hoping to knowing. It is choosing to use your voice, your thoughts, and your spirit in alignment with laws that have governed kings, prophets, and sages since the beginning of time. The Lost Prayer of Solomon is not just words, it's architecture. Each phrase, each line, is built to match the divine frequencies that attract money, prosperity, and favor into your field. Now imagine, just for a moment, what would happen if your internal world matched the frequency of someone who always receives. Imagine if your words no longer echoed worry, but wealth. If every sentence you spoke carried authority, not anxiety. That is what this solution unlocks. It doesn't change just your mindset. It realigns your energetic structure to the divine blueprint of abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the subconscious mind is like a recording device, always listening, always manifesting. She said, "The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy." And this is where the prayer becomes transformative. Because once you speak the right words, from the right frequency, into the right spiritual posture, what returns to you is not just hope, but results. This solution isn't a one-time event. It's a spiritual practice, a ritual of remembrance, a way of waking up every day and choosing to align with the source of all wealth, instead of chasing the shadow of it. The Prayer of Solomon, when spoken daily, does something miraculous. It reprograms the filters of your reality. Suddenly, you notice different opportunities. The random numbers begin to make sense. The silence of the past is replaced by signs, synchronicities, and doors that were previously invisible. You stop being the victim of your finances, and you become the master of them. And let's be clear, this is not about greed. This is not about asking God to make you rich while others suffer. This is about restoring spiritual order, about reclaiming your divine right to live in flow, not in fear, to prosper so that you can bless, to receive so that you can give. This is what Florence meant when she said, "I do not limit God by seeing limitation. I use my words to speak expansion. The solution is expansion. It's speaking expansion. It's aligning with divine expansion." And the Lost Prayer of Solomon is your tool, your weapon, your anthem in this spiritual war against lack and limitation. Let's make this practical. When you begin using this prayer, you'll want to do it in stillness, not rushed, not distracted, morning and night. And you must feel each word. Visualize it. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Let your entire being participate in the act. Because this isn't just prayer, it's spiritual programming. And every repetition is a code sent to the universe that says, "I am ready. I remember who I am. I claim what is mine." As you do this consistently, you may begin to experience what some call divine downloads. You'll see numbers that repeat, perhaps 7s, 8s, 3s. You'll dream of keys, of doors, of shining objects. You'll overhear conversations that seem meant just for you. These are signs of the system activating. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation. The only question is, will you commit? Will you stop reciting the words of doubt and start declaring the words of dominion? Because once you do, the shift will not be subtle. It will be supernatural. This prayer is your inheritance. This moment is your turning point. The money, the win, the breakthrough. It's already coded into your future. And now, by speaking the lost words of Solomon and aligning with the spiritual truth Florence revealed, you are stepping into the timeline where it all becomes visible. Say it with me now in your heart. I am no longer a seeker. I am a receiver. By divine law, I align with the wealth that already exists for me. Because the solution is here. The only thing missing was you stepping into it. Now that you understand the spiritual architecture behind abundance and how the Lost Prayer of Solomon, combined with Florence Scovel's teachings, serves as a sacred mechanism to access divine wealth, it's time to shift from awareness to application. Because knowing the truth isn't enough. Living it is where the miracle begins. So let's walk together through the precise step-by-step ritual that will rewire your reality and unlock the frequencies that draw money, opportunity, and even winning numbers directly into your life. Each step is more than an instruction, it's a spiritual recalibration. And when practiced consistently, this process becomes a magnet for divine provision. Step 1. Cleanse your inner temple. Before you speak any sacred word, you must clear the static. This isn't just about silence, it's about alignment. Find a space where you won't be disturbed. Dim the lights. If you're spiritually sensitive, light a candle, not for ritual's sake, but to signal to your subconscious that you're entering sacred ground. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Let go of yesterday's failures, today's stress, and tomorrow's fear. Say silently to yourself, I am present, I am aligned, I am ready. This mental and spiritual centering is crucial. You cannot receive divine code if you are vibrating in chaos. Step 2. Speak the prayer. Out loud. Now, with reverence and certainty, speak the prayer of Solomon. Not like you're begging, but like you're activating a royal decree. Speak slowly, feeling every syllable. This is not passive. This is spiritual warfare. Your voice is a wand, your words are commands. Here's a version of the prayer you can begin with. By the wisdom of Solomon and the law of divine wealth, I align with the abundance that is mine by right. I reject all illusions of lack. I release all fear, and I receive now the substance of things hoped for. As above, so below. As I believe, so it manifests. Money comes to me now, freely, easily, continually. What is mine cannot be withheld. I am favored. I am chosen. I am wealthy in truth and in substance. Say it 3 times, morning and night. And when you do, visualize it. See money flowing. See the numbers appearing. Feel the weight of gold in your hand. Anchor it in your imagination. Because the subconscious obeys vivid imagery. You're not just hoping for money. You are commanding it into form. Step 3. Write it into your reality. Words spoken are powerful, but words written are recorded in the field. Take a notebook. This will become your book of manifestation. Each day, after speaking the prayer, write this affirmation. Wealth is seeking me now. I am ready. I am worthy. I am open. I am in divine flow. Repeat it 7 times, then write the amount of money you wish to receive, as specifically as possible. Write it as if it's already in your account. Not, I hope to win, but I have received X amount in divine timing. Why? Because the subconscious doesn't understand future tense. It only responds to now. Step 4. Perform the act of receiving. After speaking and writing, you must embody the energy of someone who has already received. This is where most people fail. They pray, they visualize, but they still worry. That cancels the command. So for 5 to 10 minutes, do something that makes you feel wealthy. Take a luxurious bath. Dress better, even if you're at home. Walk like someone who carries divine favor. Smile like someone who knows money is chasing them. Feel it. Embody it. Because your body is a tuning fork. When it vibrates in lack, nothing flows. When it vibrates in receiving, the gates open. Step 5. Look for signs. Then obey. Once you begin this process, watch your world shift. A message may come in a dream. A number may repeat on receipts, clocks, or license plates. You may feel the nudge to buy a specific lottery ticket, go to a certain place, or call someone. Obey the signs. This is divine communication. The spiritual world responds when you do your part. But if you ignore the signs, the flow closes again. Don't hesitate. Don't overthink. Move. Step 6. Anchor with gratitude. Each day, whether you see results immediately or not, end with gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet that holds the miracle in place. Say out loud, "Thank you, Divine Source, for the wealth I am receiving. Thank you for remembering me. Thank you for trusting me with abundance. I will use it to bless, to grow, to glorify your law." Gratitude turns the invisible into visible. It anchors the unseen. It declares, "I already have." And that is the most magnetic frequency of all. Step 7. Repeat without doubt for 9 days. Do this process for 9 consecutive days. 9 is the number of spiritual completion. It represents finality, fulfillment, harvest. During this period, protect your mind. Don't speak words of lack. Don't argue about money. Don't consume fear-based content. Guard your temple. And if on the 9th day you feel a shift, if you see a sign, receive money, or feel a breakthrough, write it down. Document the miracle. Because once it begins, it doesn't stop. Now, if you're ready to go even deeper, if you want to know the exact spiritual block that has been silently sabotaging your wealth, I've got something for you. Click the link in the pinned comment right now. It will take you to a free quiz that reveals the root spiritual block stopping you from manifesting money. You'll discover whether it's fear, guilt, ancestral vows, or something hidden in your energetic field. It's fast, accurate, and will change the way you approach money forever. Don't ignore this. The answers you're seeking are closer than you think. But clarity only comes when you take action. Her name was Clara. She was 54 years old, lived in a small, forgotten town, and had spent most of her life believing that money wasn't for people like her. Not because she was lazy or lacking faith, quite the opposite. Clara was faithful, spiritual, generous. She had raised her children with love, fed neighbors in need, and prayed for miracles more times than she could count. But still, for decades, abundance seemed like a stranger who kept passing her by. Every month was the same story, stretching pennies, juggling bills, trusting that somehow things would work out. She'd grown used to the ache in her chest when she checked the mailbox, afraid of what new demand would arrive. And yet, even in her struggle, she clung to her faith. One night, scrolling on her phone before bed, she stumbled across a video, maybe even one like this one. It spoke of a lost prayer of Solomon, a sacred declaration used not to beg for money, but to align with divine wealth. The words struck her like lightning, not because she'd never heard scripture, but because for the first time in years, she didn't feel like a servant. She felt like a daughter of the king, like someone with the right to command abundance, not crawl toward it. She replayed that video 10 times that night, wrote the prayer in a notebook, spoke it out loud. Then she did something she hadn't done in a long time. She believed. Not the kind of belief that's logical or based on past results. This was deeper. A belief that maybe, just maybe, God had been waiting for her to wake up to her authority. Clara began to follow the process daily. She created a small altar in her bedroom with a candle, a Bible, and the prayer written in her handwriting. Every morning at 6 a.m. before the sun rose, she lit the candle, placed her hand over her heart, and declared the words, "I align with the abundance that is mine by right. What is mine cannot be withheld. By divine law, money flows to me now." She didn't skip days. She didn't just say the words, she felt them. On the 3rd day, something happened. She dreamt of the number 888, glowing in gold above a door. When she woke, her chest was warm, buzzing, like something had shifted. She took it as a sign. At the corner market, where she usually picked up groceries, she felt a strange pull toward the lottery stand. Clara had never believed in luck, but that morning, something told her this wasn't luck. It was alignment. She bought a single ticket. One set of numbers, chosen intuitively. She went home, wrote down the dream, repeated the prayer again, and then let go. Not out of indifference, but because she no longer needed to control the outcome. She trusted the process. She trusted the source. 3 days later, she received a phone call. The voice on the other end was trembling. "Clara, do you know what you've done?" She had won. Not millions, but enough to erase years of debt. Enough to repair her house, bless her children, donate to her church, and breathe freely for the first time in decades. But the real miracle wasn't the money. It was the shift, the knowledge that she was never poor, just misaligned. That wealth wasn't a reward for good behavior, it was a frequency waiting to be tuned into. And she had finally learned how to tune in. Since that moment, Clara's life has continued to change. She speaks differently. She walks differently. She teaches others what she learned. She's no longer that poor woman from the small town. She is the woman who remembered her power. And if you're watching this now, maybe her story isn't just a testimony. Maybe it's a prophecy for you. Because Clara isn't special. She's not chosen above you. She simply acted. She said the words. She obeyed the signs. She stopped begging and started declaring. And the universe responded. So the real question is, will you? Will you speak the prayer? Will you declare your right to abundance? Will you take the signs seriously, even if they come in dreams, feelings, or numbers? Will you believe that your struggle was never a punishment, but a preparation? Because just like Clara, you're one shift away. There are moments in life that don't just inform you, they transform you. Moments when something within you clicks, and you realize you've been walking through life asleep, dreaming of abundance, but trapped in spiritual amnesia. If you've made it this far in this video, then you already feel it. The pull, the confirmation, the stirring in your spirit telling you, this truth was always in me, I just forgot. Let's go back for a moment. You were introduced to the idea that certain prayers are not just petitions, they are activations. That there exists a lost prayer of Solomon, one that carries a code of alignment, wealth, and spiritual dominion. A prayer not meant to be recited from weakness, but declared from authority. That was the first key, understanding the nature of spiritual law. Then, we pulled the curtain back on the real problem, why so many people pray for money but remain stuck in lack. We exposed the root, misalignment, fear, inner contradiction, and subconscious agreements with poverty. We didn't just speak of external struggle. We named the invisible battle most people never win because they're fighting with the wrong tools. After that, we delivered the solution. Not just a prayer, but a system of spiritual reprogramming. A daily ritual to reset your vibration, realign your frequency, and command the response of the universe. Not through superstition, but through spiritual law. We walked step by step through the exact process Clara used. You saw how her life shifted, not just because she believed, but because she acted. She spoke the words. She honored the prayer. She obeyed the signs. She trusted the unseen more than the visible. And the result was not just financial freedom. It was spiritual authority reclaimed. Now, in this moment, I want you to understand something deeper. You're not here by accident. You didn't just find this video. You were summoned to it. Whether through an algorithm or divine timing, your soul was ready. Ready to remember, ready to receive, ready to stop asking if you'll ever win and start declaring when it will happen. And that shift, from if to when, is everything. Because the only difference between a life of scarcity and a life of supernatural provision is agreement. What are you agreeing with? Fear, doubt, religious guilt, or divine law? The universe always responds to what you consent to. And silence is consent. Indecision is consent. Self-sabotage is consent. But so is faith. So is declaration. So is action. You get to choose what you align with. And today, you've been given the keys. You've learned that words are not random. They are frequencies. That money is not just currency. It's energy. That prayer is not begging. It's wielding spiritual authority. You've learned the structure, the order, the power, and you've seen the evidence. Now here's what you must not do. Do not walk away from this unchanged. Do not treat this as just another video. Because if you do, you will fall back into the sleep of limitation. You'll return to the loop of praying but never receiving, hoping but never believing. And you were not created for that. You were created to reign. And I want you to hear that word again. Reign. You are not a servant of money. You are a steward of divine substance. The same divine force that prospered Solomon, empowered Florence Scovel, and restored Clara is waiting to move through you. But it needs your voice, your command, your agreement. Let this moment be the line in the sand, the spiritual reset, the awakening. The moment when you look back and say, that's when everything changed. Because here's the truth. You don't need more knowledge. You need activation. You don't need permission. You need decision. And you don't need luck. You need alignment. Say this out loud with me. I no longer chase money. I attract it. I no longer pray from fear. I declare from divine right. I no longer doubt. I decide. And because I decide, I receive. Let these be more than words. Let them be a contract between you and the invisible, a vow between your present self and your future self, a future where bills are paid without panic, where numbers align by divine orchestration, where doors open without forcing, where you walk not in hope, but in harvest. Remember, Solomon didn't ask for wealth. He aligned with wisdom, and wealth followed. You don't need to force abundance. You just need to remember who you are. And from this day forward, you do. If something stirred inside you today, don't ignore it. That's not emotion. That's not coincidence. That's activation. It means your soul is responding to truth. And once awakened, it cannot go back to sleep. Now is your moment to respond in the physical to what was just ignited in the spiritual. And it starts with a simple act of alignment. First, leave your declaration in the comments below. Not for me, for yourself, for your future, for the spiritual realm to see that you are no longer hiding, no longer playing small. Type this now. I align with divine wealth. I receive the abundance that belongs to me by right. Let it be your signature in the field. A public, spiritual declaration that you are stepping into a new season. Then, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. This isn't just a channel. It's a vault of ancient truth, sacred codes, and spiritual law that has been hidden in plain sight. And every video released here is designed to unlock a deeper part of you, to bring you closer to the version of yourself that already has everything you're praying for. And don't stop there. Scroll to the pinned comment and click the link to take the free quiz. This is not just a game, it's a spiritual diagnosis. It will reveal the exact energetic or spiritual block that has been delaying your financial breakthrough. Whether it's ancestral programming, guilt, fear of receiving, or a vow of scarcity, you need to know what's standing in your way before you can command it to move. Thousands of people have taken it and come back saying, that quiz said what I never had the courage to admit. Let it speak to you. And finally, share this video. Someone close to you is silently drowning in lack, and this message may be the hand that pulls them back into faith, power, and prosperity. Be the light that opens the door for them. This is your moment to act. Don't hesitate. Don't delay. The spiritual realm doesn't wait for the comfortable. It responds to the courageous. You've already taken the first step by watching this far. Now complete the cycle. Comment, subscribe, take the quiz, and keep walking with us. Your life is about to change, but only if you change your posture.